Well, Secretary Reed, I'm assuming you did just watch President Trump's speech
I
in
did.
prime time. What's your initial reaction to what he had to say?
I think this is another example of the president spreading incoherent, provably false accusations without any evidence. And frankly, it's just another example of the consistent effort he is making to undercut confidence in elections. I think that is true because he fears what's going to happen in the upcoming election. He is worried. He knows that Americans are not happy with the results of an unnecessary war that's causing Americans to lose their lives and causing gas and everything else to be more expensive in our lives. So instead, he's casting doubt with any evidence on a system that we know in Oregon works. We run safe, accurate, and fair elections here with paper ballots that are verifiable, that are retained and audited, that are signature verified. So the president can say what he wants, but Oregonians know that this is how we hold politicians accountable, and they know that we are not going to give that up.
The president referenced a number of documents he was releasing on whitehouse.gov, and it just happened. So I'm trying to go through it a little bit, but he also talked about some foreign interference in elections and investigation in Michigan and non-citizens voting. Referenced over 250,000 that they know of. Has any of these documents, have any of these documents, has any of this data been shared with you from the federal administration?
I have not seen them yet, and I think it is fairly rich for a president to be making these claims when it is his very administration that has been consistently cutting funding for the agency that was specifically aimed at protecting our elections from that kind of foreign interference and cyber vulnerability. When I was elected Secretary of State, one of the first conversations I had was with the regionally assigned folks from that agency, and then a week later, they were gone. This federal administration has stepped back from that responsibility. And so the president to now talk about that and to talk about the Department of Homeland Security Secretary talking about these things, it is maddening because we have been saying this, as have county elections officials across the state from the beginning. The president has turned a blind eye to this until it serves his own interests, which are, suddenly top of mind. I don't take it as a serious effort because he could have been doing this all along. I also noticed he didn't talk at all about the 2024 election, the one he won. The president seems to be concerned about this only when his preferred candidates and he lose. Our system works because people prove their citizenship and their identity when they register. They verify their identity with their signatures when they vote. We have those paper ballots that are retained, that are recounted when necessary, that are audited. Our system works, and Oregonians know it, and they should have confidence in it.
He also asked the Department of Justice and the FBI to look into, further issues related to what he claims is election interference and election fraud. And we know that last week he reached out to, that's okay, he reached out to states, including you, and threatened to perhaps pursue criminal charges against someone even as high as, you, elected official. Those threats, do you take them seriously, especially considering the president's Department of Justice has not been shy to actually seek investigations and prosecution
Yeah,
against elected
we
officials?
take everything seriously because we know that democracy matters, but we also know that they don't have evidence. Remember what this president has done from the beginning. He cut that agency funding that I talked about already. He tried an executive order early on in his administration, which we stopped in court. He tried another executive order that we have also stopped in court. He demanded the private information of Oregon voters. We said no, that was stopped in court. He's continuing desperately to try to pass the Save America Act, which would have the effect of making it harder for eligible American and Oregon citizens to vote and hold him accountable. This is all of a piece. This is all an effort to lay the groundwork to deny results of elections in 2026. So I take everything seriously when it comes to democracy because I have a serious job, which is to defend the right of Oregonians to vote, a right which is enshrined in the Constitution, not an authority that the president can have. Article 1, Section 4 makes it very clear presidents do not run elections, states do. And that's an authority that we will defend in Oregon every single time.
What's your reaction to his claim that non-citizens are voting? He mentioned over 250,000, but mentioned that he hasn't received voter rolls from a lot of Democratic states, including
Yeah,
Oregon.
because he's not entitled to that. And federal courts have said that. That is very clear. We did a study in Oregon. I'm sure you've looked at it. The Legislative Fiscal Office looked at 60.9 million ballots cast in Oregon over about 20 years, and they found 38 cases of improper voting. Of course, I wish that number were zero, and we are constantly working to get to that number. But that is not a number that affects the outcome of any elections. It is vanishingly rare, and it is certainly not something that justifies, let alone makes legal, the extraordinary lengths to which this president is going to try to avoid accountability that voters are going to deliver in free and fair elections that we will have in Oregon and across this country.
I know it's late. I just have one more question for
That's
you.
fine.
He mentioned a lot about foreign governments and their attempts to affect our elections. Do you, from your experience, believe foreign governments have the ability to infiltrate U.S. elections?
Well, it's an interesting way of putting it. I think there is clear evidence that countries are frequently trying to influence elections, but they do that by trying to get us as Americans to turn against each other and to doubt the the solidity and the strength and resilience of our systems. That does not mean that votes are changing. So each of us as Oregonians and Americans should take our own responsibility as voters seriously. In Oregon, we make it convenient. So when you get your voter's pamphlet, when you get your ballot, take your time and make informed choices. Consult reliable sources. Question things that you don't think are true, and then make your choices and vote with the confidence that your paper ballot, which can't be hacked, is going to be recorded accurately. And elections will provide the kinds of accountability that our system depends on.
Secretary of State Tobias Reed, I really appreciate you staying up late and taking some time with me.
My pleasure. Thanks for your interest.
All right, take care. Have a good
You
night.
too.